Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with me, Nina, and my awesome friend, Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join us in conversation as we explore our interesting theme for today. Namaste and welcome. It is me, Nina Saacks. I am glad that you are here with me. It is our month of navigating healing crisis, and today we're going to do a yoga practice together. It is a short little practice. It's a bit of a practice that I've been using and somewhat adapted, changed with time. For me, it's usually one that I'll gravitate towards if I'm struggling with menstrual pain or PMS, in that kind of phase. Haven't really been struggling recently. I seem to have overcome that hurdle with a lot of lifestyle changes I've been doing, with a lot of mind shift. But every now and then I have maybe a not so great month, as you would have heard from this podcast. And then I'll do a very short practice like this in my morning practice instead of my usual practice that I do. So what you'll want is, if you do have two hard blocks, something like that, that could be handy. Otherwise, even just a chair. If you've got a soft pillow, you'll want to grab that nearby. And I just love being comfortable. So if you have a towel or little blanket, you can use that. For me, whenever I'm doing a yoga practice that is more nurturing and nourishing, I just want to be as comfortable as possible. So again, this is a reminder. Please be sure to speak to your healthcare practitioner, doctor, anyone like that before you do these practices. I'm just sharing with you from me what is helping me, what has helped me, and I hope that they will help you. My advice for you when we go through this little sequence is test it out, but also see how it feels and how you need to adapt for yourself. I know when it comes to menstrual pain and discomfort, a lot of times, a lot of the yoga postures will say kind of like open up, lean back, recline postures and things like that. And for me, that doesn't seem to work. I actually prefer having things drawn in. I prefer a little bit of pressure on my abdomen, actually. So that's what works for you. It's taken me a while to acknowledge that and be comfortable with that and not follow protocols as per what the books say. So my invitation for you is really to dig in deep with what is it that you're needing. I would also suggest, if you've got that worksheet that we were working with in the last call, use this recording as a reminder, as kind of like on your exercise, that this is one that you can go to gravitate. So make sure you bookmark this. It's a short little practice and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. When it comes to me, when it comes to my period or when I'm in pain, I don't like to breathe deeply directly into the pain. If I take my awareness there, I feel that I get caught there and I struggle with that, and I don't feel like it eases. I just get caught up in the tension, especially if it's an intense pain. So for me, it's actually just working in the areas around it as gently as possible, and then as my attention can gravitate closer and closer inwards, I allow it to happen naturally, but I don't ever send my breath straight into an area that is full with pain. For me, it doesn't work. For you, it might work. So, let's do this together. If you're going through a healing crisis or not, it doesn't really matter. It's still a lovely practice to do, but at least you'll have the practices in your mind, in your memory, when kind of things get tough. Often we let our practice kind of like slip away because we just don't want to do anything, and at least with these couple of postures and movements, I now can invite you to join in and to experiment and just to make it comfortable for yourself. Alright, so let's start off in Chakravakasana, cat stretch, one of my favorite postures. And you're going to get really comfortable here with the knees underneath the hips, maybe even just a little bit more than hip width apart. Feeling that it's comfortable in your lower back and sacrum. Maybe taking the hands a little further forwards than shoulder width apart, maybe even a little wider than shoulder width apart. Press down through the shins. And then just notice how it feels to inhale. Only go as deeply as feels right, and then allow yourself to exhale. And in the beginning, this movement can be very, very small. It doesn't need to be a big movement. And with time, as you move and flow through your cat stretch, you might find that you go a little deeper into it. At the beginning, the breaths may even be shallow, so it may be a little quicker cat stretch. And then as you kind of like ease into it, the postures may become slower and longer. You might even want to inhale and exhale in a position if that feels right. You may even want to exhale out through the mouth as you round your spine. So really make this your own. See what feels good for you. You might feel that it feels good to encourage and encompass the shoulders and working with it. And then notice what it feels like if you start to circle the hips a little. This I find is so wonderfully soothing for me, where I take my hips over to the right, I take them back a little, I take them over to the left and then forward. And then depending on how I feel, I might want to go a little deeper, a little bit further, and sometimes I don't. And this is where the invitation extends to you, kind of like, where do you feel, how far do you feel that you would like to go? And then change direction, kind of circling the other way. I often find that when my body is sore and tired, doing very comfortable and gentle dynamic movements helps to ease. When I feel I need to be still and steady, I honor my body and I go into that stillness. So if you feel at any point that your body just is craving for, just be still, just hold, then do that. Maybe it wants you to go really, really slow and feel into each and every part. And changing direction. And again, we don't really have to be too specific with, like, how many rounds do I do to the right, how many rounds am I doing to the left. When there is discomfort, just feel what your body is wanting. It may really just want to go in one direction. It may feel very comfortable even just swinging the hips from side to side at the back. Another one of my favorites is when I come to the center and I do like a skipping rope. So if I exhale or if I inhale and I relax into the abdomen and I open the chest, I take the hips over to the right. I exhale, I round, I'm kind of like creating a rounded skipping rope, take my body over to the left and then release down. And I find this movement of kind of like creating a skipping rope motion with my body is super relaxing. And then you might want to even try the other direction. You might feel that you just want to swing the belly kind of like from side to side or the hips from side to side. There's no real wrong way. The idea is that you just start to move a little without taking too much focus or tension into the area that is tight and uncomfortable, but really just moving and releasing. And then it's nice to take a break. Some days when I need to take a break, if I feel that I'm lightheaded, staying up is right. Sometimes it's so nice to just release down and rest into a child's pose or a frog, either with the knees together or with the knees super wide apart. If you just feel that you need to release down into the mat, a lot of women enjoy that position of where they can just completely soften into it. You can have your arms for support. You just want to notice, you just want to observe being in that space.
And instead of taking the breath to where there's pain or discomfort, just think of widening the breath in the chest so that the breath becomes a little longer. The breath becomes a little broader. And then when you feel ready, coming up. So the next, I'm going to share with you the next kind of like movement posture. Something that I've been playing with recently, and I really, really love it. For this, you might want, you actually just need one block even, you don't need two. But we can come up standing. If you've got two, you can use two. And we're going to take it into a forward bend. So we're going to have the feet hip width apart. Inhaling, just drawing the arms up, and exhaling, bringing yourself forwards and down. And here I like to use the blocks. So I'm not aiming to get down to the ground. I'm softening into the knees a little. I'm just allowing the back of the legs to lengthen. And what I'm going to do is move the left block out to the side, bring the left hand into the waist, and I'm going to bend my right knee. So the block with the hand on it and the knee are going to be bending. And what I'm inviting is just a nice long stretch into the outside of this left leg and this left hip. And I'm giving it a little bit of a twist and opening into the waist. That's it. And then what I've really enjoyed doing is taking this left arm and creating lovely big circles with that left arm. So what I like to do is as I inhale, I like to invite that arm up and exhale down and around. And you might want to see if your head wants to follow the movement of the arm. And then the other way. And what I find this does, it just invites an openness into the side of the waist without taking the attention into the abdomen or the lower back. The usual areas that I struggle with on my first 2 days of the cycle. And sometimes it's nice just to keep that arm up and to open. What I like to do a little is rock a little back and forth. You can bring the hand into your waist. Just again so that it's dynamic, so that there's no pain, discomfort, strain or in any area. And then coming back to the center, you can slip that block back again. Bending both knees, maybe cycling them a little. And then doing the same thing on the other side. So you can move the right block to the right a little, bring the right hand to your waist, bend your left knee. So the left hand is on the block, the left knee is bent, that right leg is extended. Opening up, see how that feels. You might just want to be here and kind of like sway back and forth, or kind of like from side to side a little. Or you might want to take it into that arm circle again, where that arm goes up and over and back, and you can follow kind of like the thumb with your eye lines so that the neck becomes part of the movement and the head doesn't just hang. So we're opening up into the back of that leg, changing direction, maybe circling that arm the other way now. And you're getting kind of like a nice little back stretch here, but without it being too strong, too intense. What sometimes feels nice is just to stay up and open and to reach a little over. But make it yours. Again, if that swaying motion felt nice, do that. And then again, releasing, coming back to the center. Maybe do a few of those cat stretches standing, inhaling as you open, exhale as you round. So the cat stretches we can do sitting on a chair, we can do standing, we can do kneeling. There's so many ways of doing this cat stretch. And then inhaling, coming back up. Lovely. Alright, and then the last posture I'm going to share with you for now is this idea of lying on your back and resting with the legs up the wall. So here you want to come as close to the wall as possible. Sometimes it's nice to have, again, a support underneath your buttocks and your hips. I don't like it to be too high, but just a little bit of support and padding I find nice. And having a soft pillow for the head is great. So when you come up to the wall, make sure you kind of off your mat. You're lying on your side so your buttocks is as close to the wall as possible, and then you swivel yourself around and finding a position that is comfortable. And I'll often just lie in this position for as long as I need. Sometimes it's nice just to have the legs up. Sometimes I find it can be quite relaxing to have the legs a little open, not going to my widest, but just kind of like a comfortable distance open, and to rub into the inner thighs. So you can test to see if that works for you. Sometimes, and not always for me, I'll take it into a little bit of a cobbler. I find it's more comfortable to do a cobbler against the wall than to be lying on my back. So if I feel like I do want to do a cobbler, I'll often come here and just gently kind of press the thighs upwards, if that makes sense. So you can find a position that works for you. It might even just be with the knees bent and the feet on the wall. And then you can take the focus into the arms, so the arms can come up and over. And exhaling back down. So again, removing the attention away from the abdomen and the lower back, and removing it into a dynamic movement, focusing on the breath and the arms. And what I find is that when I'm doing this is that I'm inhaling and I'm opening up. And I'm allowing the prana, the energy to flow in. And as I'm exhaling, I'm expelling, I'm releasing. So we're just focusing on the upper body. I'm getting that movement, that awareness of the breath happening. And I don't really need to feel like I need to focus on breathing into a tight area or the sore area, especially when there's an intense pain. I find that it can just get too much if I need to focus on just that area. And then exhale, you might want to bend the elbows. Inhale, you can straighten them. So it's kind of like keeping the attention on the periphery. And exhaling, release. You can bring the hands back down alongside the body. Take a nice smooth deep breath in. If you feel that you want to stay here a little longer, you're welcome to do so. When you're ready to come out of it, you can bend your knees. You can roll over onto your right side. You can stay there for a moment. And then when you're ready, place your left hand in front of your chest. Push into that hand. Come up into a seated position. And kind of that is the very short, quick little practice that I might do if I find that there is just a lot of tension in my abdomen, in my lower back when I'm menstruating, and I don't want to do a full yoga practice, but I know that movement and doing something and being mindful will work. So I hope this practice has been helpful for you. I hope you're able to use some of them, play with the movements, get comfortable with them, write down what works for you, use that little sheet that I shared with you last week. If you haven't got the sheet, email me yoga.awakening@gmail.com and I'll happily send you that free PDF. Not a problem at all. And then until next week, where we'll do a little bit of breathing together. Namaste and have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Thank you for listening to our Nourish and Restore podcast today. To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga. For more information on working with me, Nina Saacks, visit www.yogaa.co.za. And to work with my awesome friend Nicole, visit www.lov-me.com. Links will be in the show notes. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Namaste and have a nourishing day.